So I recently finished Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. No, in all seriousness, do you remember my review of The Alchemist? I read The Alchemist a few months ago, posted a review about it. If you've not watched it, I encourage you to go watch it because I'm going to echo a lot of the same sentiments that I had about that book because this is just The Alchemist with better writing. Like, it's written better, but it's still the same, like, for me, vacuous, hollow, like self-indulgent platitudes. Like, I'm never going to enjoy a book like this. And I get it. I get that this isn't really for me. I don't really know why I read this, to be honest. Because when I complained about The Alchemist, I had a bevy of people in my comments being like, The Alchemist changed my life. How dare you? How dare you? I read that book to my dying wife. It means the universe to me. Like, okay, chill. Like, I'm not saying you can't enjoy it. Go off. Like, I just don't care for it. And I'm the same with this one, unfortunately. What I do find very strange, though, is that the book follows the character of Siddhartha Gautama, who was, to my knowledge, like one of the founding figures of the religion of Buddhism. But the book itself actually doesn't have much to do with Buddhism, and like Hermann Hesse wasn't a Buddhist, so it's like, what are we doing? Are we taking an Eastern religion and using it as like an exotic aesthetic for a generic book about self-discovery? I don't like that. I think that's messed up, you know? Like, oh, the greedy Westerner appropriating the bits from other cultures that they like and then turning it into their own little story, their own little fantasy. Like, ew. No, don't do that. But yes, at about 115 pages, the story is very cut and dry. Man goes on self-discovery journey. Great. That is in fact the story. If you are in any if you have an appetite for that kind of stuff, great, you'll love this. I, however, do not. The Alchemist is probably still one of the worst things I have ever clapped eyes on. And this was just The Alchemist. I mean, the second I got to the start and the introduction was written by Paulo Coelho himself, I was like, oh dear, I know what I've got myself into. And by the way, can we talk about this introduction? I don't think I've ever seen an introduction to a classic that was so superficial and self-serving. Like, for a big chunk of it, Paulo Coelho just talks about himself. And it's like, what's going on here? Like, I could have looked at several introductions of this novel in a lineup and been like, oh yeah, that's the Paulo Coelho one. Like, it was weird. So yeah, that's pretty much the bones of my review. Much like The Alchemist, much like The Midnight Library, now I think about it, I have no time for thinly veiled self-help books. Just have the conviction to go out and make it like a self-help book. You know what I mean? Like, why take us on this faux creative fictional journey? Like, it doesn't work for me. I'm sure Hermann Hesse, very talented writer, the actual styling of the writing is lovely, you know, very profound, very descriptive. Go figure. And I'll probably read some of his other books, but this one, not for me. Not for me at all.